Now, back to Sunrise on News Radio 880 KCMX.
Shout, shout, I'm talking to you, so come on. Shout!
Good morning, everybody. 17 minutes after the hour. Welcome to the Sunrise Show. And I want to welcome our special guest, Dr. Ginger. She spent the last 20 years studying health around the world. In just a matter of, she's worked for Donald Trump. She's taught at the Hippocrates Institute, Johnson & Wales University, Culinary Arts. She's a chiropractic doctor as well. And her latest project, the Fat Funeral Detox, very exciting. She's got a book coming out this spring called The Rainbow Juice Cleanse. Want to welcome onto the program, affectionately known as Dr. Ginger. You get to her website, fatfuneraldetox.com, and then, of course, at the Ginger on Twitter and Facebook and everything else. So, good morning.
At the Dr. Ginger. I'm all over social media as well. How are you, Craig?
Well, we're good. We're good. As food becomes a big time focus this time of the year, of course, it's always with me. I'm always eating, and I try to stay away from the burgers and the chips and stuff. And I do for a time, then I find myself getting back into it. But explain this fat funeral detox and why fat is a huge focus. We need to really focus on why this is.
Well, I've learned over 20 plus years of experience, that people have so many issues with their health and certainly their weight, and they just need some basic understanding. And so in my Fat Funeral Detox program, I give you that 20 years of experience in various webinars and videos and news feeds and all sorts of information that's fed to you on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, where you can log in and get all this information, get recipes. But when it comes to fat, people need to understand that fat is created to protect the body and vital organs from so many of the toxins that you're putting into your system, whether it's from food, the things you drink, even the prescription and over-the-counter drugs you're taking, the things that you're putting on your skin and your hair, environmental toxins, and the things that you're not eliminating. For various reasons, constipation, and you're not doing the right things to let your body release toxins. And so all these things are stored in your fat cells. And so people reach these plateaus, and they have difficulty losing weight oftentimes because they're not understanding kind of how it works and how to release these toxins, and then they will see the weight loss. And so I explain all of that.
Exactly. Isn't that interesting that if toxins in the body are located in the fat cells, and we've got toxins from bad nutrition, drugs, pharmaceuticals, all the pills people are taking, then all of a sudden, aren't you uncovering the fact that the more toxins we have in our body, the more insulation we need, therefore, i.e. more fat, therefore obesity is taking over in this country?
Yes, and that's what fat is created to do, to protect us, and that's exactly what it's doing, and it's doing it even more so now because we're consuming so many processed foods and so many chemicals, and all these things are being added to foods that we're not even aware of that make us eat more of it and crave more of it, and it's this never-ending cycle that we need to break ourselves from. And so, I kind of teach in what I call my worst, better, best transitioning, where I allow you to baby step yourself and start releasing, so to speak, the things that you're ready to release. There might be some things you're not quite ready to release yet, but through education and understanding how the body works and how these foods and drinks and things work on your body, you get more inspired to start doing these things over time. And so within 30 days, you have a whole slew of things that you can choose from to start doing. And I tell people, just pick a handful of these things and start kind of moving yourself from the worst category to the better category, and hopefully to the best category at your own pace. And so it's a comfortable transition that really sees results.
Wow. It's amazing. Of course, we're talking with Dr. Ginger, her website, fatfuneraldetox.com. And, of course, at Dr. Ginger is of course, all of her handles on Twitter and Facebook. Dr. Ginger, it's amazing that people don't really realize this. I mean, is it easy to change, or they have to make their mind up to change and just deal with this a baby step at a time, like you're saying?
Well, the first step in healing or really making any decision is to get it into your mind what you're going to do. And so, whether you're dealing with a terminal disease or just a health challenge or just wanted to lose weight, the first step is kind of that mind-body connection of getting yourself in the space for making those steps. And so if you believe, your terminal diagnosis, then you know what, you're probably going to go down that path. But if you change your mindset, and that's what a lot of these healing centers do, people work with a psychologist on their belief system about their disease. And we can translate that even back to if you're not facing a terminal health challenge, maybe just a health challenge, or maybe just weight, or maybe just your own self-talk to yourself. We need to change that. That's the first step. Then the second step is loading your body with super nutrition and transitioning yourself from the worst choices that you're making to better and then to the best choices. And then the third component is detoxifying yourself of all the things that you've been doing to yourself for decades on end. And so the program kind of goes through those three steps and kind of brings you around at your comfortable pace. But the key is education, and that's what we're lacking today. People are not understanding. You can be told all day long, take this vitamin, eat this food. And if it's not something you're doing on a regular basis, it's probably not something that you're going to start doing on a regular basis without some inspiration and some education. And that's what I hope I bring to the table.
Well, that's excellent because people are asking questions, but they're not getting the answers. At least it's always money-driven, right? And then, of course, detoxification, if they're eating healthy, but then they don't feel the effects, it's because the detoxification, it's blocking everything, right? I mean, at some point, you don't even absorb the nutrients from healthy food?
Oh, sure. And that's why, and I'll just give you a little tidbit on one of the things that I cover in the program is trying to get your body alkaline. We all remember the pH scale from back in chemistry, and I think I've talked about this with you before, but it's so important because we are such an acidic society. Most importantly, the foods that we eat and all the drugs that we're taking makes our body very acidic. Well, our bodies don't thrive in that environment. Our bodies thrive being slightly alkaline, if you kind of recall that from the pH scale. And it's not difficult, but the pH scale runs from 0 to 14, with 7 being kind of neutral. And your body likes to be just over that 7 mark. But most people are under that 7 mark on the low numbers, and we're very, very acidic. And so the whole point is, let's move your body in a more alkaline direction, because that's when, number one, you'll start feeling better, your skin will look better, you'll have more energy, your signs and symptoms will start to dissipate, and that's when your body starts to thrive. Disease cannot thrive in an alkaline body. Disease thrives. It's the perfect environment for disease being an acidic body.
That is perfectly said, and we're going to continue with that. We've got to take a quick break. We've got Dr. Ginger on the phone with us this morning talking about her fatfuneraldetox.com, her latest project, and wait till we come back. You won't want to miss it. Right back on the Sunrise Show on KCMX News Radio 880. We'll be back after this quick break. Stand by. The Bloomberg Market Update is up next.
So get up.
Now, back to Sunrise on News Radio 880 KCMX.
Good morning, everybody. 34 minutes after the hour. Continuing with Dr. Ginger, and, of course, her website, fatfuneraldetox.com. And, of course, she's all over social media. She's a Twitter fiend, and I call her a vegetable Wonder Woman, the Wonder Woman of vegetables, because when it comes to eating healthy, I mean, she's a vegan, and she's been doing this for over 20 years and got the attention of Donald Trump, working at one of his facilities, and then the spa in Florida,
the Trump spa at Mar-a-Lago.
Yes, but also voted the #1 wellness spa by Spa Magazine. So you've done your due diligence on that, and then, of course, you've got a book coming out. And then I would be remiss if I didn't mention former Mrs. Virginia 2013. So it pays to eat right and do things right and live healthy, doesn't it?
Well, and I also want to point out, my program is not, I know you mentioned that I'm vegan. I encourage people to eat more whole food, plant-based, but the program is not that, because I realized, it took me a long time to get to that point. And it's not for everyone. And so, but the whole point is we need people to eat more fruits and vegetables and eat less processed food. And so the education is encouraging people along those lines. And of course, if you do eat animal products, then of course you want organic, grass-fed. You want the cleanest versions of those because you want to lessen your toxic load. And so the whole gist of the program is to lessen your toxic load in kind of every area of where you are at this point.
Exactly. So your program is a one-time fee. This is awesome. Don't have any monthly fees. Don't have any whatever. It's a $30 one-time fee. FatFuneralDetox.com. But Dr. Ginger, the issue of detoxifying, explain. I mean, how do you go about that?
Well, there's lots of different things that you can do, and there's kind of step 1, step 2, step 3 phases of doing that. But the easiest way to start the detoxification process is through eating a cleaner diet and sweating. I mean, those are 2 basic things that we all are, that inner voice is always telling you should be doing. And it's saying that for a reason, because those are the easiest things to do. Now, depending on how toxic you are and how many fat cells you're holding, there are things that you can do to step that up, and I go through that in the process. But the easiest thing is to start eating cleaner, and that's why I do the worst, better, best transitioning, where you can see a bunch of food choices as I do the worst, better, best, and kind of pick the things that you're ready to start moving from the worst category to the better, or the better to the best. Now, if you're facing a serious health challenge, I encourage you to move through those quicker and get to the best category, so you have the least toxins in your system. And so that's kind of how I progress people. But there's so many different things that you can do to detoxify, the easiest being diet and sweating.
So diet and exercise, that's what the medical community talks about, diet and exercise, and it needs just to roll off your tongue. So what's going to be happening, this book coming out in March, the Rainbow Juice Cleanse, that's pretty exciting for you.
Yes, the Rainbow Juice Cleanse is an exciting, I just actually turned in the final A-OK on it. It's going to print, I think, in November. And it's funny how long it takes to get in the stores, but it'll be in the stores in March. And it's really exciting. It's I'm a big fan of juicing from a healing perspective, in that someone who's facing a serious health challenge, a lot of times their bodies can't absorb nutrients. And so the juicer does that. It separates the fiber from the organic nutrients. And for someone who's facing a serious health challenge, it's a great kind of shot in the arm of nutrition. But what has happened is, as we've seen in infomercials, Jacqueline and the various infomercials on TV, it's become a whole lot more mainstream. The problem that I've seen with it is that they're kind of missing the boat, and people are juicing way too much fruit. And we have a sugar addiction in this country that's causing severe health problems. And so you might think, oh, well, I'm just going to drink this fruit juice, but that's not helping your weight loss, and it's certainly not helping your blood sugar issues. And so people are transitioning to what they think is healthier when they're already having issues. And so I try to encourage people, eat your fruit, juice your veggies in this book. And so there's a whole chapter on sugar, explaining how the fructose, a glass of fructose, which is what sugar is, what a glass of fruit juice is not helping your cause. You need to get yourself under control before you're going to drink a glass of fruit juice.
Well, Dr. Ginger, it's amazing what you just said, and the sugar epidemic in this country, and the fruit juice that we think is fruit juice. It's high fructose corn syrup, and if you start reading the label, I mean, I've been doing that for quite a while, 10% juice, and you look at it and you're just going, my goodness. And I talked to a certified nutritional therapist. He said, no, what happens is kids that drink orange juice, which isn't really orange juice, in the mornings, their brain swells from this.
Well, and let me tell you what fructose does, especially the high fructose corn syrup. Fructose has a different metabolic pathway when it's being processed in the body than glucose. Glucose, and I don't want to make this complicated, but it's just two words, glucose and fructose. Glucose is the preferred source of energy for your body, and it's the only source of energy for your brain. And we get that through a lot of the healthier foods that we eat. Fructose, on the other hand, especially high fructose corn syrup, which is the processed fructose, is processed by the liver. And if it's not needed for immediate energy, which chances are with the volume of foods that we eat in our society, it's not, there's enough glucose to go around. And so fructose is turned into three things. One of three things: fatty acids, bad cholesterol, and triglycerides. Those are three things that you don't want. So when you're drinking that soda, and you've just had your Big Mac and your French fries, that soda is turning essentially into fat. And so we need to think about these things when we're eating. And that's why I also don't recommend drinking a lot of fruit juice, because fruit has a higher volume of fructose than vegetables do. And that's why I say eat your fruit, because it has the fiber in it that will slow down that blood sugar rush. Fruit is very healthy, I want you to understand. But when you're transitioning the thing that people often do, because they're addicted to sugar, the bad sugars, when they transition to healthy eating, they often get very addicted to only fruit, and they don't eat the vegetables and the greens and the sprouts and all the other things that are really giving us organic alkaline minerals in our body.
Exactly. But the fruit juice, I mean, it's so bad for you, especially when you're talking about this sugar problem in the country, and then you've got obesity and diabetes, which is so bad. So.
Oh yeah. And I'm actually a diabetes influencer as well with on the media channel, and working with people on getting them to understand this concept about fructose and how dangerous it is. I mean, diabetes is a major epidemic in our country, and the problem is it's not just one disease. When you have diabetes, you develop all sorts of other diseases, pretty much every one of modern day diseases, from heart disease to you can develop cancers, you can develop, for men, erectile dysfunction, which I'm sure they don't want. You can develop obesity. All these other things are related. You eye problems, neurological problems. So diabetes is kind of a catch-all for so many other things.
Oh, it is.
Every system's going haywire.
It's nuts. We've got Dr. Ginger. Can you hold on? Can you come through the break?
Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Excellent. This is fascinating stuff. We're talking to Dr. Ginger, of course, her fatfuneraldetox.com and the program there. We'll continue with that after this quick break on the Sunrise Show.
Now, back to Sunrise on News Radio 880 KCMX.
Swaying to the symphony of destruction.
Good morning, everybody. 49 minutes after the hour. Welcome back with Dr. Ginger on the program. And, of course, her Fat Funeral Detox. I know it sounds kind of gross, but, Ginger, you're cutting right to the quick on this. I mean, Fat Funeral Detox. You're basically saying, get out of my life, all you big globs of ugly fat. And the way to do it is detoxifying. Let's talk again about this program. It's fatfuneraldetox.com. It's a $30 a month when you sign up. I'm sorry, $30 one-time fee.
Forever.
Yeah, but
I'm practically giving away the information.
Exactly right. Because especially when you look at, like Weight Watchers and the food thing, it seems like we need to be babysat related to this whole thing, but yet we can do it ourselves, right?
Well, and I guess I'm kind of doing that a little bit for you. I'm spoon-feeding information that, unfortunately, we're not being taught in society. And a lot of the information that I teach, I've gleaned from various healing centers, and I do everything from a healing perspective. And so I want you to understand the things that it takes to reverse crazy diseases. If you take a couple of these nuggets and start applying them to your life, some of the signs and symptoms that you might have that are just annoying at this point will start to go away. And so, this is my passion, and this is what I love to do, and so I'm obviously totally in it. But I don't expect you to be. But what I hope that this program does will inspire you to take some movement, to take some direction, to move yourself kind of more, as we talked earlier, in that alkaline direction, so that the balance of your day is a healthy one. It doesn't mean you have to, give up all your favorite things. However, I can tell you that some of the recipes, especially the dessert recipes that I offer in the program, are so amazingly delicious. You will never feel deprived, and they're all totally healthy.
It's just a matter of getting away, lowering the intake and then diet and exercise. Because here's the thing, the body can do so many amazing things if you just let it.
That's right, and we just have to understand it, and that's the thing. My whole thing is education. You have to understand the body, and then you have to understand food. All these packaged products and things that are easy for us to pick up at the store and throw in the microwave, those are not doing your body any good. They're very acidic. They're loaded with chemicals and preservatives. And so our fat cells are growing fatter and fatter because we're shoveling this stuff in on a daily basis. And so we need to first just make a decision that we're going to make some changes. You follow along with the program and sort of baby step yourself through.
And it doesn't have to be more expensive. This isn't something that can't be attained. But it is work. I get to the grocery store, I'm looking, you've got to, stay away from the end caps because they're putting all the stuff on. It really does take some training.
Well, you know what? It really, I'm trying to get people back to common sense because we've lost it through, manipulative marketing. And so getting back to just the basics, really, and understanding how the body works and what we can do with it. So it's not difficult. And as far as the price points that you talked about, the expensive things, here's kind of what I've discovered. And we actually did a clinical trial with people through this program. And women lost an average of 0.5 pound per day, and men lost an average of 2/3 a pound per day, which is really, really astounding. But what we also discovered is in the clinical trial, during that month, their grocery bill went down. And this is why. In the beginning, you have a certain amount that you're spending on your grocery bill when you're buying your standard American diet foods. When you start transitioning to healthier eating, you haven't yet given up your bad foods because you're not ready to release those yet, but
Right.
you're buying good foods. And so that's the point where your grocery bill will be the highest. But then you see this it's like a bell curve. You see this complete downturn where your grocery bill actually goes way down below what you used to spend because the foods that you're buying are so nourishing that you're not hungry all the time, because the standard American diet, you're hungry all the time because you might be eating volumes of food, but you're not getting any nutrients. And so your body's constantly craving things, and of course then the chemicals are making you crave more, and your body's not satisfied, it's always hungry. When you start eating the fat funeral detox way, your body gets satisfied, and you're not running around hungry all the time, and you don't have to buy as much food. And so your grocery bill actually goes down, and it went down $150.
Wow. Well, it's interesting. I see people struggling, and then they have, they're overweight, and then they have health issues on top of that, and they're sore, and they're, it's from carrying around all that weight. You just feel bad, and it's like let's try to empower people by educating, and that's exactly what you do.
That's right. And I know we talked earlier in the break about this, but, you have to understand the manipulative marketing that goes on, too. When you buy, like, a package of food and it says 0 grams of trans fats on the front, which is that man-made fats that are very toxic to your body, which I encourage people to eliminate in the fat funeral detox program, and you flip over and you look at the ingredients and it says hydrogenated fats, now how can that be? How can it say 0 grams of trans fats on the front, but it says hydrogenated fats in the ingredient list? Because there's a loophole in the law that allows these food manufacturers to get away with that. So you're actually consuming trans fats when you read on the front of the label, it says 0 grams of trans fats. So you have to become educated, and these are some of the things that I teach in the program. But I think, more than anything, I'm hoping I'm inspiring people to, step up and say, no more. I'm not going to fall for these things. I'm going to do the common sense way.
Very good, very good. Dr. Ginger, we're out of time, unfortunately. You can find Dr. Ginger on, of course, her website, fatfuneraldetox.com. She's also currently hosted on radiomd.com, and busy. And her book's coming out in March, the Rainbow Juice Cleanse. Dr. Ginger, thanks so much for your time this morning.
Thank you, Craig. I so appreciate you having me on.
All right. We'll be right back. More on the Sunrise Show after this quick break.